We're here today in the M&M studio in the Capella Hotel in Singapore. The day has just finished. Our keynote speaker for the end of the day, Sunita Kaur, who's the MD at Spotify Singapore, is here with us to have a little chat. How was it on stage? How did you find it?
Oh gosh, being in front of that crowd is pretty amazing. I mean, the energy in the room was wonderful, and I think that really came from just the variety of sort of clients and media agencies and creative agencies and publishers that you had in the room. It was great being up there.
Fantastic. And did you catch much of the content during the rest of the day? Were there anyone that kind of stood out for you?
There was one that definitely stood out for me, and it was the Malaysian Airlines session this morning with Dean. He's got a pretty phenomenal job, and he did a very phenomenal job with Malaysian Airlines. It's admirable.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really emotive, wasn't it?
Very.
And something that the world knows about, and actually having it from an Asian perspective is quite impressive.
Yes.
And I suppose going back to your presentation, you were talking around the roles of brands and how brands can help break musicians and artists. Is that becoming more prevalent in Asia in comparison to the rest of the world? Is it more of a hot topic here?
Absolutely. Well, it's something that in the entire world, a lot of brands can want to get involved in, but it's really got to be the right thing to do for a brand, and that's why we say a lot of it is done with data. It's not something you throw yourself into. It's something that you really kind of understand if it will work for your brand. But we've just come to sort of 2 years out here in Asia, and these kinds of programs are definitely something that is gaining momentum. And we're now in 7 countries. We've got a much, much better understanding of the music scenes in this part of the world. So what's going to be happening in Q2 of this year is we're going to be working with a brand to break a new Asian artist. So that's actually going to happen in Q2.
Wow, very exciting.
Incredibly excited about it.
Wow. Is that breaking an Asian artist globally, or just from a regional to a whole region area?
It will be an Asian artist in Asia first, and then globally.
Wow.
So yeah, I know. It's a real watch this space.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose you're not allowed to reveal who it could be at this present moment, but in terms of how that works, how does it kind of work? How does it come together from a data perspective, and how do you entice the brands in to kind of work with you guys? And then obviously you've got to bring the musicians, so you're almost like an agency, if you like. Absolutely.
And it really starts, it's a huge juggling act. But brands usually they really love these experiences. It's quite exciting to be a part of something like that, and it's when our analytics and data teams go into overdrive. So we've already started the process. We will start by looking at really bands that are trending underground, mostly in sort of the indie scene, and what is from what's trending on Spotify to really the chatter on Twitter and Facebook about them. And what we will do is reach out to maybe about 10 different bands, ask them if they'd be willing to be a part of the program, and then us and the brand will put together the entire experience, and we will push it out to the public. So what essentially happens is you start with 10 bands, but music fans in Asia will decide who wins.
Wow. Okay. Very interesting.
So from the get-go, you're going to have a huge audience behind this band.
Wow. And are there any kind of countries within the region that are really kind of driving this more than any others? So Indonesia, for example, has a very young population, doesn't it? So I wonder if there's a country in the region that's the real hotbed of music in Asia.
Oh gosh, they all are for different reasons. For example, being in Hong Kong and Taiwan were very, very important for us because Cantopop and Mandopop are big around the world. So we wanted, Canto and Mando music for far reaches of the US as well. When you think about, the Philippines has an incredible music scene. And so that's a market that we also see lots and lots of interesting things happening in.
Wow. And I suppose for a bit of fun, what's the first record you ever bought? Can you remember that far back? I can just about remember that mine was Stand and Deliver by Adam and the Ants.
Oh God, well done. Yeah. Well, mine, like I said, would have been a cassette. and it was the mixtape. I spent most of my time like on my tape deck, taping music off the radio, and then all of us would just swap mixtapes in school.
Was it a TDK or a Memorex tape? That's the key.
Mine was TDK. I actually remember that.
They were the good ones because you got the stickers that you could play around with.
That's true, and you could write little love notes to the boys that you had crushes on.
Yeah.
So
Not for boys, for me, but I agree. I used to make a little mixtape, and then people realised that my taste in music was quite morose, so it wasn't really good for girls, those ones. I had to really think out of the box.
Yes, Duran Duran is your go-to for girls.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
I will take that tip. Well, it's wonderful. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us, and congratulations on being our headliner on the first day of the Festival of Media Asia.
Oh, thank you so much for making me a part of the day. It's really been amazing.